Hello. Okay, so I'm here to talk about the end of the 2025 F1 season and the off-season leading up to the upcoming 2026 F1 season, which starts March 6th through 9th. So let's get to the first most important thing, which is how Lando Norris won the 2025 Drivers' World Championship and became one of 35 people to win an F1 World Championship, as well as McLaren won the Constructors' Championship early in the season while in Singapore. So McLaren had both their driver and constructor, so of the best they could really do this year, so very well. Good year for them. Then a couple of stats I want to run through was he became the 11th British World Champion, and already, like I said, 35th F1 World Champion, so only 34 other people have won it besides him, so that's like a humongous feat in itself, to be one of 34 or 35 people to have won an F1 championship. He became the first McLaren champion since 2008, which is when Lewis Hamilton won his while he was still in McLaren before he left for Mercedes. And that was when he won one there. And he did it in his 7th season in F1. But even more impressive was the fact that he had only won his first Grand Prix 1 year before, which was the Miami Grand Prix, was his first ever win. And then he went on to win 2 more races that same year. But that was all in his 6th season. And then the very next year, which is 2025 was his 7th season, he won the World Championship. So that is like unbelievably impressive in itself. Like, besides just winning the World Championship already. He had 7 wins this season, including 2 of the most important races for him, which were the Monaco, which is the crown jewel of F1, and Silverstone, which would be considered his home race because he's from Bristol, or if you want to get more technical, he's from Glastonbury in the United Kingdom. So British Grand Prix at Silverstone, so he won that for the first time. He won Monaco for the first time, and then he got a redemption with winning Sao Paulo, which he had like probably one of the worst races, at least for him, like bad technically, but also just mentally messed him up really bad, to the point where he got so much backlash for it, for like a crash that had happened there, that he didn't even sleep for 26 hours, because it was just that bad. So that's obviously wrong for a lot of reasons, but I won't get into that here. But he won that this year, so 3 big races for him. And then he had 7 pole positions, and he had 18 podiums, the most on the grid, podium-wise for the year, but also he set a new McLaren world record for podiums, which he had already set himself, where he beat his own record, and set 18 to his previous record. But equally, if not as impressive as just winning it after his first win, like a year after his first win, was that he overcame a 34-point deficit in 5 races. So basically he had to be nearly perfect, because he had a DNF early in the season. He had a different thing happen where he like lost points, or they had favored Oscar, and so he had gone down. Like it should have been Oscars, and even Max was closer technically than Lando was himself to getting the World Championship. And then Las Vegas happened, where he did well, but they didn't tell him that they left some board on his car, which like disqualified both McLaren cars. So basically him and Oscar both got disqualified there, but realized like he did well and he got second, but it didn't give him points, and it was all for nothing, so to speak. So that was really bad. Well, he had, despite like having notably the best car that year, McLaren had the best car, like there's no argument about it, and Ferrari unfortunately had like the worst possible car, it's like a tractor, but we won't get into that either. They went and he kept going out and competing, like I said, 18 podiums, which is so many considering how many races there in the year, and just to get a podium every time in the 7 pole positions already is a big deal, and 7 wins. But overcoming a 34 deficit would discourage most people, and you'd be like, there's no way I can catch up. And it's like, I literally have to get pole, I have to get like on the podium and try to win, like, which obviously you're always trying, but like for that all to go right is like unfathomable. So he had to put in a lot of work, and he overcame a 34 point deficit, even challenging sometimes his engineer, like, no, I gotta do it this way or else like I'm not gonna get on podium, we're not gonna win the race. And then also he was undefeated in qualifying versus his teammate for 7 years. And like, think about some of the people he's had to have done, competed against with the teammates with Carlos Sainz, then with Danny Rick, even though it's only for 1 year, but that's still like someone who was in F1 like way more earlier than you, and like technically more advanced, and so people weren't expecting him to like beat Danny or beat Carlos. And then he became like the elder, or like more veteran with when Oscar came in, but now Oscar's been in it for a couple seasons too, so this was like quite an even pace match, even though like Lando chose to stick to the hard times. He's the reason McLaren was like in the back of the pack when Lando came up to F1, and he like was like, no, I'm gonna stick with them, they believed in me, so I'm gonna stick with them, and they worked their way up to the point where like, oh, we're actually like getting podiums. And he was getting podiums before he got the win in the 60s. He was getting podiums earlier in his career. He got on podiums, but not in the very beginning, because it was like McLaren had a shitty car. And then they went in, he stuck through, he signed a contract extension, he kept working, and he's like always at walking at the MTC, which is like the McLaren headquarters, working with engineers, going in the simulator, trying to do whatever he can to help bring the car to a better place, and it literally worked. Like, not to take away from the engineers' jobs and all the people, men and women who work there, but he put in like a lot of personal work where he could have been the small breaks when F1 is already like a year round where you're not at home or with your family or whatever. He just spent them at the MTC so that he could try to get them to a position where they could compete, and he actually predicted it sooner. He was like, I think around his 4th year, he said, not now, but maybe in like 3-4 years we will be competing against Red Bull and Ferrari for the championships. And he was 1000% correct, because 6th season he was not, they weren't expecting it, nor was him nor was McLaren, but the Ferrari car was bad then too, and so they were second, and Lando came second in the World Championship without even trying for it. And then this year he won the World Championship. Like, it took exactly how he said would happen, and what happened. He was also the driver with the most starts in McLaren's history, and the first driver ever to reach 150 races with his debut team. It's because he never left. He believed, and he stuck by the men and women and everyone, despite teams trying to poach him, and people were like, dude, why would you, like, with your career, you should just go with, like, especially if people like Christian Horner want you to come there, or even other teams want you to come there. that had the money and had the power to get him, like, earlier. He like, no, I'm gonna stick with McLaren and the papaya and just be loyal to them. And so, like, it's already wild to think he has the most starts, but it makes people either don't stick in F1 long enough, or they don't stick with one team long enough to reach that, like, quota. But because he did, in 7 years, he reached it, and it's, like, wild, because he's, like, let's see, 25 for majority of the season. He only turned 26 in November. So, like, already at that age, it's like, if you have the most, but it's like, yeah, because he was with them since he was, like, I don't know, 18, 19. I'm not going to do the math right now. So, but even, like, in the academies and stuff, so that would be earlier, but to F1. And then he's the first driver in F1 history to win his first 11 races at 11 different circuits, and one of only 2 drivers to make Q3 at every race in 2025. So that's, like, my rundown of some of the, like, bigger stats, and just, like, stats for that season alone that he, and records that he broke. You're already seeing a lot. And let's see. And okay, so that's that. But let's talk about a little bit about the win, which would have loved it for it to come earlier, but unfortunately, and I guess somewhat fortunately, it didn't happen till the last race of the season, which was Abu Dhabi. If, like, Vegas didn't happen, it could have happened then. Qatar, he was literally basically perfect, except for I don't remember if he did win or he just got a podium, but he got, like, everything else he could possibly do to try to get it. But I don't think he won the Qatar though. But he got, like, pole position and they have the sprint race, and, like, but regardless, he didn't have enough points to beat it and just ended in Qatar, so he had to go to Abu Dhabi to the sprint race there and then win the race. And he did. Got close a couple times with some stuff, but he did. So he ended up winning the world championship. That was, like, crazy unreal. And then, unfortunately, I don't know why they do this, but unlike in, like, baseball or, like, basketball or even, like, football, you obviously have, like, the championship trophy there, like the World Series trophy, the Larry O'Brien trophy, the Lombardi trophy. I don't know what the movie was, just a World Series trophy. I don't know if it has an actual name, or, like, the Stanley Cup in the NHL. You would think they would just give you the World Championship trophy at whatever you win it, like you would at, like, Game 5 versus Game 7, or whenever you actually win it. You would have it at beck and call with the potential to win it that night or close out the series. They don't do that, which is dumb. But so you just get the regular, like, oh, you won Abu Dhabi trophy. Like, that's just the trophy that you held up when he went up, but obviously everyone knew that he won the championship. Like, afterwards, gave him his moment, he, like, stayed around on the balcony and got to, like, wave to his all McLaren team and his family and fans or whatever supporters, and then go out and party at this, like, nightclub in Abu Dhabi with all of his team and family and friends that had come out. So the actual trophy ceremony always happens, like, a couple weeks after, like, not too long, like a week or two after, but it's always at, like, a random city. Like, I remember the year before it was in Rwanda, and I'm like, but why? Like, there's random countries, and like, don't they have like other like third world problems? Like, how are they gonna host this? And like, I'm not trying to disrespect them, but like, just a random bitch hosting this like luxury like sports awards, like, that's all. Anyhow, this year is in Tashkent, which we're very familiar with because of Amazing Grace and Race Across the World. So, yeah, this year they're in Tashkent, and the FIA president, Ben Suleiman, or whatever the hell his name is something like that. It's just like this Arab dude who everyone hates, especially people who are Lewis fans, just because he did a bullshit decision. The first year Max won his championship, which really was Lewis's, and everyone stands on that, but except for Max fans. But even some of them are like, yeah, that wasn't actually his championship win. But anyway, he's just very racist and just has like favorable things, and also just is kind of like creepy dude, like a Bezos or Elon Musk, but very, very creepy. And for whatever reason, he's like extremely creepy with Lando and Charles, but especially Lando. And usually like the first like 1, 2, 3 drivers of the year go to the ceremony, so it should be Lando, Max, and Oscar. But for Max didn't come because he just had like his girlfriend had like a kid, like a baby, like 2 months before, so he didn't want to come or whatever. So he stayed in Monaco or wherever the hell he lives. But so Lando is going to be there, and Oscar is going to be there, and he was like in the top 3, but even then McLaren would get the constructor championship, so he was going to be there regardless. But both the drivers were in the top 3, so they're both going to be there. But I love Charles, but Charles was there, and nobody understood why, because people were just seeing him like post Instagram stories of at like this Tashkent mosque and stuff, and I'm like, what? Why is Charles there? And then come to find out that I don't know, maybe Ferrari was getting something, but I don't think so. I think Ben Suleiman just invited him. Oh no, it wasn't Ben Suleiman actually. For once, this can't be blamed on him. The Tashkent, what is that, Uzbekistan? Like the Uzbekistan president really wanted Charles to come to Tashkent, knowing that the F1 awards were being held there. The trophy presentation. So he wanted to show him around Tashkent, and that's why he was at the mosque and like this palace and all these other like landmarks or whatever. He just wanted him to come. I guess his favorite name was Charles, so he went to and then he was at the awards. So I was like, why are you here? Like, you're very good, but you weren't in the thing. Why is he there on Max? Okay, anyway. So then they present the trophy there, and it's like a really big trophy that your name gets like etched into, and it's like you obviously don't. I don't think you keep it because it's just like the overall, just like you would at like Wimbledon, or I don't know. It's like these, like there's not like one you actually take home. Maybe it's like a replica, like a mini version of it, but like your name is etched in it, and then you like give it back to them. I'm pretty sure the Stanley Cup is the same way. But so obviously he was very excited. It was like a humongous, and so he's been doing all his whole life. But of course, Mohammed Ben Suleiman has to steal the moment and be extremely creepy while he's at it. So Lando gets called on stage to accept the award for the Drivers' Championship. So he comes out and like, yeah, you have to shake everyone's hand, but like you get your own moment of like taking the award out of like the Louis Vuitton case and like getting a picture with it and just like holding it or like and saying your speech or whatever you want to do. No, that's what always happens, but no, not with Lando. Because, of course, something stupid has to happen. It's just like, that just has to happen. Just like with unnecessary hate that gets to. So Benson won, like, he like shakes his hand, he shakes the other whatever FIA people's hand. He goes to go get the trophy, and Benson won goes and just like kind of like grabs it on the other end from the box with him, and he's like, okay, you got it, like without like being rude, like with his eyes, just like, yeah, cool, I can carry you, it's fine. He doesn't let go, basically forces himself into the picture with them, and so not like, okay, get a solo shot, which is really dumb. Oh, and actually, wait, I skipped a part. Before he even like got to the trophy, just like in shaking hands, he goes and like does this to his hair, like messes it all up, and it's like, dude, why the hell would you do that right now? Well, why are you touching my hair? Why are you acting like a child? Dude, here I am, like one of the most important moments of my life, like this thing I'm working for my entire life, and I'm going to accept it, and like for the first time I'm gonna see the trophy, touch the trophy, all of that, and like do the speech in front of like all of these people, and then you just like did this, like, and kind of like belittled me. Like it was like, although as soon as the video was circulating online, everyone was like, what the hell is wrong with this man? Like people already hated him, but even people who don't watch F1 just saw the video and like, what the hell is this grown man doing to this guy? Like, if he's accepting me, why are you trying to mess up his hair and like make him like a child? Like, oh, could you like, what's stupid? It still makes me so freaking angry when I think about it, because it was just so stupid, and just like these people that think they can do whatever they want to somebody who is not them, even though they're 1,000 times better than them. But like these rich people, and that's also why everyone wanted him out as F1 FIA director. Well, obviously especially Lewis, because he's done a lot of racist shit to him. But even other people have. You know, Toto was like, Toto was the team principal for Mercedes, who's obviously still pissed about like Lewis not getting that, and then like having to leave. Well, not having to leave, but like choosing to leave after leaving Lewis like forever. He was like, okay, like I will leave team principal and try to go for the F1. FIA, I keep saying F1, FIA presidency, with him and his wife Susie are like actually so freaking involved in the entire thing, and even then they try to pin something on Susie, like she can't qualify, like Susie knows way more than you, it's because she's a woman, because that means shit to you. Okay, sorry, I keep like going on tangents, but it was just dumb as shit. I would much rather one of those two be FIA president. Well, especially Susie. I love Susie, especially what she's trying to do with like bringing women into motorsports and giving them bigger, prominent races that happen before the F1, and then just trying to grow their experience. And there's like a whole doc on it on Netflix, the F1 Academy, and it's like all women's academy and other stuff. Okay, I'll go back. And so that was already just a stupid rule moment. Yeah, I'm gonna take pictures, like, obviously, like, off stage and stuff, but, like, it was just like, why did you ruin that entire moment that he waited his entire life for? It was just stupid. So that was that. Okay. So that kind of covers my thing with that, and you just already know, like, how incredibly proud and happy I am for that. So, hope Charles can win with Ferrari, but they need to give him a good car. I want Lando to win. I want Lando to win, but yeah, I definitely want not like a fancy Lando, but I just would have seen Charles winning it earlier, and I definitely think he would have already won it or been closer to winning it if Ferrari would give him a freaking car, and he wouldn't be like me and have like the shittiest luck in the entire universe. So like we have like a billion things in common besides like the proximity of our birthdays, but our bad luck is like to a whole other degree of other people. Okay. Okay, so let me go into the next thing. So it's like Lando's thing. Then, going into the 2026 season, there's a lot of changes. So, that is why I kind of wanted Charles to win before these changes, but like earlier, not necessarily the 2025 season, earlier than that, but can't happen now. So, first thing is first is that there's been 10 teams, 2 drivers each, so 20 drivers total. Well, and there was somebody who tried to get into F1 to create an 11th team, but I don't know if it was FIA or who after them, or like they stopped it. I'm pretty sure it's FIA. Everything for motorsport has to go through the FIA, and that's not just like Formula 1, that's other bits of like driving in motorsports. But Andretti tried to get into F1 to buy a team or create an 11th team, just like he has teams in IndyCar, but they just didn't. I don't want to say they didn't want an American, because Zach, who's the team principal of McLaren, is he's not team principal, he's the CEO owner of McLaren. He's American, but nonetheless, and technically Haas is an American company, but anyway, they just didn't want him, Andretti, like actual sporting, like motorsports guy, to have a team, or they just didn't want to. He's American, I don't know. They rejected his team, so they said no, I don't think so, not happening. And then I'm pretty sure they're American. I don't know, I'm confusing myself, but okay, I don't know, they just rejected Andretti, that's my point. Somebody else somehow got through with them though. I don't know if they had more money or what their deal was, but it happened. Just like when like the teams earlier became like Aston Martin, and one became Audi, which were before something else. They weren't like prominent name teams, or like they weren't technically that, like how there's Mercedes. They were just like, well, whatever, we had this Red Bull, it was like a sponsor thing, but they didn't have anything from Aston Martin or from Audi or anything. So now there's a team called Cadillac, and their offices are based in Indiana, because I've seen TikToks of like, oh, I found the new F1 headquarters for Cadillac, so it's a real news. So dang, they have to keep coming here, poor people. Valtteri's, well, he's white, but he's Finnish, I think, and Sergio Perez is Mexican, so Trump's America, that'll be interesting. But anyway, Sergio Perez and Valtteri Bottas, who are both good drivers, definitely could have deserved another seat, just like Danny Rick did, but another story also. Sergio Perez definitely deserved a seat. He was driving alongside Max Verstappen as his teammate at Red Bull. And they, like they always have, Christian Horner doesn't give two shits and wanted everything to happen for Verstappen, and who the hell cares about the other driver. That's how they've wrecked so many drivers in this sport, their careers, or just like it just made them twist in a different way. It's like how, okay, it's worse than the example I'm about to give you, but it's still not good. It's like the pressure that they put on Joey Bart, bringing him up to replace as like be Posey or better, or like actually that's like not as bad. It's like bringing up Wiseman from college and he's gonna go sink or swim next to Steph for goodbye. Like you're just gonna go play the G Leagues or just get out of the league. I can't think of an exact analogy, but like those are kind of examples. And I guess even like Cooper Flag right now, who like college dominant, like definitely rookie of the year, he's gonna dominate, but then you give him a shitty team meaning like without any vets and just him, and I guess Clay, but I don't know how well Clay is doing, so I'm not gonna count him. But I guess fine, Clay is the only other guy, but there's no Kyrie or Anthony Davis, though I don't really think he's the good, but like there's no other guy so besides him and Clay, so it's just like, how are you gonna compete and expect to win with that? And it's just not how you're seeing it go. They had great potential, but it's not gonna add up, and they're gonna find out shit. I don't know what I'm doing, or like, how the hell is this people with him? Like, I'm supposed to go compete against LeBron and beat him, or with Steph and beat him, or like Giannis and beat him. Like, it's not gonna happen on my own. No. So Derek used to be with Max Verstappen. He left because he doesn't say it, but I can tell because of the favoritism and like Singleton. I don't care. You get half of it. You get this. We're gonna favor him and give him not only leads, but just like he needs parts. Well, I guess you're not racing this week, pal. Like, we're gonna give it to him, get him. So they did that to a couple of drivers. And the junior team did that a couple of times, which is stupid. Which is why like Logan Sargent got out of F1 within like a couple of races. There wasn't even a fair chance. They called up Alex Albon too close to Max Verstappen, and then sent him down to the junior team, which again, not a fair chance. They've done that to Pierre Gasly a couple years back, where he was his teammate for a couple races to replace somebody else that they were like, yeah, screw it, you're gone, and then got sent to the junior team, and then had to get a new signing to stay in F1. It's all bullshit. That's like a way longer story for me to get into, but that will actually take me like another hour if I go into the depths of that. And anyway, so it's happened to multiple people, and same with Liam Lawson this year, which is why everyone already said that you should have done it with Yuki. And Liam Lawson got to race with Max for like a couple of races, and they're like, no, you're not performing up to par, which is their par is like always moving the goalpost, but whatever. And you're not going to even give them like even Steven to like compete, so that's bullshit. But so they sent him down, they play Yuki up, and I was like, shoot. And see, now Yuki has no seat. So, and now they moved Isaac Hodger up, who was at the junior team, and Bill Liam, which is where Yuki went for last season, and now he has no seat because no one had a spot. Oh, poor Yuki. And now I'm scared for Isaac Hodger because he was a rookie last year and he's talented. Like, I think he got one podium. But my point now he has to go be Max's teammate. And that's not a good thing for anyone. I don't care how freaking talented you are. Look at Danny. Look at House. Like, nobody can compete with this dude when your team principal wouldn't even play fair. And yeah, Christian Horner is not there anymore. But they also have this sicko. I keep saying these people because I don't know who the hell to compare them to. But like, just like this really bad guy. I don't know what he is. I don't know if he's like the owner or if he's the new team principal or what. And he's just straight up racist also, but he's also just very Max-centric, or just like racist, I guess. Let's just say that. So he's not going to give Isaiah Hodger a chance. I don't think he would anyway, but he's like, this is like an Arab friend to do. Like, why would I not go with this Dutch man? So that's already bad. And then, so I'm scared for Isaac to be in that environment, and because Max is cuckoo, not fully his fault, because his dad is beyond words cuckoo. He's only like held a knife at him, but that's a whole nother story. But still doesn't make it right for you to also be like a sore loser and like blood boilingly just like have a huge ego and like narcissism about you. And just be like, me, like you're gonna do my way or F it or whatever. So just that. Okay, sorry, I've been rambling. This is why I was doing it like this. Okay. Anyway, so Sergio and Valtteri Bottas was Lewis's teammate before George Russell at Mercedes, and then he was on another team. I think it was whatever. Let's say he was at Haas, or he was at whatever Audi was prior to becoming Audi, but then he lost a seat to this rookie. I'm pretty sure that's maybe what it was. Well, he didn't have a seat. He was the reserve driver last year for Mercedes, but like that just means like, oh, if like George or Kimi can't drive, then you're next up. Or if like Kimi does so bad in the season that we're like, yeah, you're out of F1, like I want you out, then you come in and you become the driver for the year. That doesn't mean a guaranteed contract unless you work performing and impress them, but that's what it is. It's like an understudy. Or like a just in case, like how there's been like, Carlos had appendicitis 1 year, and Ollie Berman was the reserve driver for Ferrari while Carlos was still there at Ferrari, so then he got to drive an F1 race for the first time. And then now he's like on the grid from last year, but like that was like his first joint, and Liam Lawson did that as a reserve driver for, I don't remember now if it was for Red Bull or for Visa Red Bull, one of the two teams before he became a seat of his own. Somebody was out. I think maybe Danny, when he broke his hand because he chose to crash rather than like crash and possibly get into like a really bad crash. So he crashed into a wall and he broke his hand. So he did the driving then too. So some people get an opportunity that way, or then sometimes like they don't come back, and then sometimes they do. Just like Franco Colapinto. I don't even remember who the hell was there. Somebody else was at Alpine with Pierre last year, but then they did something Red Bull, and like they just didn't give him a chance. Like within 4 races, they're like, nah, you're out. Bobby Franco back, and it's like, okay, I'll do it. Sometimes the seats are unfair. Let's just say that, because there's so little of them, and yeah. Okay, sorry, I keep going on tangents again. Okay, so let's just go with them. So Valtteri Bottas and Sergio Perez both are coming back into F1 after essentially a season off. Valtteri maybe 2 seasons off of having their own seat. So they are the new Cadillac team. And Sergio is coming back with a vengeance because they did so many shitty things to him at Red Bull. And he should have had that seat last year. No, like no offense to Yuki or to Liam, now Isaac, but that's his contract still ran, just like how Danny Ricks did. But they don't give 2 shits about how stuff runs, so they just do whatever the hell they want to better cater to Max, or just to their own egos, their delusional like egos. So they're back in F1, but Sergio Perez, gave like a I don't know if I'm sure he signed an NDA or what, but whatever he did, he dropped so much tea on some podcast this off-season, and like I haven't watched it because it's like a really long podcast, and I don't even know if it's in English or not, because he's Mexican. I don't think he speaks English, he does, but I don't know if the podcast is Mexican, so like I don't know, I haven't had time to like the effort to like, oh, I gotta sit down and like translate this and listen to it. But from what extras people put on Twitter, they are confirming or just like verifying things that like I've always thought about Red Bull, like the favoring of Max and like other stuff, and just also revealing new things. I'm like, shit, what do you mean that's what was happening at that time, or like at that race? Like no one knew this outside of Red Bull. Like this is what Max has been saying. So there's like a lot of drama and tea in that, and just like confirmation where he's like, you guys treated me like shit, I'm gonna speak the fuck up. So I wanna watch it just to hear more. In fact, I read pretty much most of the excerpts of what people got, because obviously that was like the bigger news on Twitter that day, a couple weeks back, but I just haven't thought to go listen to it or prioritize other things. So I'm happy that he's back, and I hope he does well. Like, I wish him the best. Not like Lando Charles, but like I still want him to do well. Especially if there was so much racism like happening with him. And yeah, I want him to do well. Just like I want Lewis to do well, especially against some of these assholes. So, and Valtteri Bottas is like a character. Like all booted to their mustache and just like always doing funny, quirky things. But he's just a character. He's like Kike Hernandez, to make faces and like do whatever and make fun of himself. Okay, so then next, so these are the F1 entries for the season. Now we'll see if they stay through the season, but that's what they are. A lot of them are the same, but that's obviously one is like 11th team for the first time. Then so Lando after is the same, Charles and Lewis are the same. George and Kimi Antonelli are the same. Max is now teammates with Isaac Hodger. So Yuki is, he might be a reserve driver, but he's not there. I don't even know if he's a reserve, he might not even be that. Alex Albon is still with Carlos. Fernando is still with Lance Stroll. And Nico Hulkenberg is still with Gabriel Bortoleto. Liam Wilson is now with 18-year-old Arvid Lindeblad, who is half Indian, half Swedish, and British. British meaning like nationality British. So there's a lot of Brits on the grid. There was already Lando, Lewis, George, and Ollie Behrman, and Alex Albon. Well, some of Alex Albon's races for British, sometimes he races for Thai, so I don't know, but technically he's still British. But that, and then, so now Arvid, he's 18, and, like, person of color, and yes, Isaac Hodger was, but I feel like people didn't realize, like, this dude isn't French, he's Arab, but, like, he has French nationality, but, like, ethnicity. Like, I hope he didn't get that much, and he's also, like, I don't know, he's young. I don't know if he's 18 or, like, 20, but he just looks very young. But anyway, so I just hope he doesn't get a lot of racism from, like, fans, and just, like, from traveling and whatnot, and if he does, like, good or bad and stuff like that. Even from his team, but I'm not saying, like, their team is racist. Well, I hope not, but I don't know. I'm not there, so. But that's wild. He's 18 kid, and it's also, he's kind of, like, partially a runway of Lewis and partially, or not Lewis, of Lando and of Danny Rick. Danny Rick because of the hair, and he's just like tan, obviously because he's like Indian or half Indian. So he has like the same curly, like kind of hairstyle as Danny Rick. People already like, oh, this is like Danny Rick's son, like as a joke. And then and like his envies a Red Bull. And then which is like the junior team for Red Bull. And then Lando, because he told him it's wild to say because like Lando's like not old, but like he told Lando, was like, oh, like you're my favorite driver, like I grew up watching you like in like F3, F2, like there's like he's 18 and I'm just 26 now, right? And so it's wild when like you're watching me, like what are you talking about? But yeah, and also in F1 since he's watched him, so I guess it technically is growing up with Lando. But yeah, so he's watched Lando. And he told him he met him at a race or something. Maybe Lando had some F3 thing, but he met Arvid a couple years ago, and Arvid told Lando, he's like, I'll be in F1 in 5 years, and it's been exactly 5 years since that video, or like that meeting was, so it's wild, so like he predicted it, it's like, oh, that's like Lando, and he told Lando this, and like, that's cool, so that's cool, also just to see like South Asian representation, but yeah, just because he's really young and stuff, I just hope like people aren't mean and like take advantage just because he's young. And then with Esteban Ocon and Ollie Behrman keep their partnership, and then I still can't think of who was originally at the seat last year, but regardless, Pierre Gasly and then Franco Colapinto, who took over for whoever they're like he gets the seat this year, and then like I told you, Sergio Perez, Valtteri Bottas, that's how Daniel could say that, Bottas, they take up Cadillac at the 11 team. Then okay, let me see. So then this year, so that's already a change in that. And it starts in Australia, which it usually does. 6 through 8. I don't know why I kept saying 9. Yeah, 6 through 8 in Australia. 6 just means like practice or like media, and then the qualifying. There's more practice. 7th is qualifying. 8th is the race. There's again a couple changes in terms of the calendar this year, and I'll go over those. And let me see. Okay, let's see. So Australia, and then China, Japan, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Miami, Montreal, Canada, Monaco. Ooh, Monaco's happening in June this year. Usually that's way early, or it's like in May. Some of these dates are interchanged. Yeah, usually Canada doesn't happen then. Spain, it was Barcelona, Catalina, and then Spielberg, Austria, not Australia. Silverstone, Great Britain. Spa, Francorchamps, it was Belgium. Then there is Budapest, Hungary, Zandvoort, Netherlands, Monza, Italy, which is now the only Italian race, which is wild. I don't know why they did not renew the contract to do, this is Monza, what's the other one called? Imola. Stupid, but they want to have 3 American races. Then Singapore, no, Azerbaijan, Baku and Azerbaijan, then Singapore, and then Austin, Texas. This is actually after my birthday. Usually it's like literally on my birthday, or like essentially like 8 on the 18th. Mexico City, and then Brazil, Sao Paulo. Yeah, these usually are the same order. Yeah, the Enzo was at the same time. It's like Austin, Mexico City, Brazil, Sao Paulo, Las Vegas, Lucille, which is Qatar, and then end the year in Abu Dhabi. So, how many races was that? So 12, so 24. What did it? And so that's like the calendar. So that's the calendar year. But they took away one of the Italian ones, and there's other ones that they've done them one or twice, but they haven't like brought them back. Like they didn't bring them back last year either. But there's been like one in Russia, but obviously we haven't done that in a couple of years. I think there was one in Turkey a couple of years ago. They haven't done that, and I feel most of them like they've been on the standard calendar. Sorry, I didn't want them to do, or everyone, but like people want them, or often Lewis wants them to do one in Africa somewhere. I don't know if they ever will do it. They should. If they do it, they should do it while Lewis is still racing, though. But I don't know. They would have to plan that earlier and quick. So that's that. And then the other thing for another thing for this the changes for the car, besides just the 11th team or the additional team, is they're making a couple of changes. So everyone's cars are not going to be the same as last year, like at all, or like they aren't the same. They're about to start testing in Barcelona next week or this week, which like their off-season is technically over because they're already back in regulating the car first. Anyway, so they only get like a couple, like 3-4 weeks off. Yeah. So then, okay, so one is they're making it like a nimble car concept, so they're just trying to like reduce the physical footprint of the cars, and so that also means like they have to be narrower, they have to weigh less, and just like provide more room to be on the track and reduce the drag and weight. And supposedly it's better for overtakes and street circuits, and just overall more impactful and agile. But there also is like a lot to like make sure it's that thin and that like compact. So I don't know how that's gonna work, but I just don't want to repeat what happened in Vegas. But I guess we'll see. Then they have shifted towards a massive 50-50 split between internal combustion and electrical power, which, okay, that's good for the environment, so I guess good. So yeah, we're running 100% advanced sustainable fuels, aiming for net zero carbon impact, and like jump from like a 120 kilometer watt to 350 kilometer watts, to have 3 times the electrical boost. And they got rid of some heat recovery system that some of the engines had. I don't know what that means, but they got rid of that to go for the electric. And I don't know how I feel about this one. The other one's okay, that's more like I don't understand. Like that doesn't impact my joy or watch of it. Like I'm a little antsy about the narrowness and like the weight and just how that's gonna like affect like being complying with regulation. But I feel like they should know if everyone has to do that. But yeah. I'm looking at you, Red Bull, because you guys have to call bullshit on other people and then not bullshit on your own shit. And this is the one that I don't like, or at least I don't think I'm gonna like, is they're basically getting rid of DRS, which is the drag reduction system, which is when I'd say like they can put on like accelerate if they had passed somebody by a couple seconds during certain zones, and that's been that way since 2011. They're just killing it off. They're like, you can't do that anymore. So they basically can't do drag. Or like you can't specially have drag. It's like available to everyone, and it's not the same as DRS at all. Everyone is just gonna be able to do stuff at the same speed, and you don't get any advantages, essentially, the way I understand it. And the wings are done a different way because they're not going to be DRS anymore. And supposedly this is going to help with overtaking. But I don't know, because I feel like the only way you can overtake is with DRS. And if everyone is like unable to drag or just going on the same like front and rear wings, that doesn't really make it an advantage. Maybe I'll be wrong. They're saying it's like active aerodynamics, but we'll see. And I guess that's it, actually. I thought I had more. Maybe there is more, but that's all I have. That I talked about the new. Actually, yeah. So Audi took over Sauber, and yeah, that wasn't Audi. It was still Sauber last season. Yeah. So Audi took over Sauber, and Cadillac entered the 11 team. And Red Bull is officially partnered with Ford, and Aston Martin has transitioned to Honda's engine, and Red Bull is using Ford's engine instead of Honda now. No idea how that will impact him, but that's like the run of the board. That's what I have for you for F1 catch up before the season begins, and we shall see who builds the best car. They have started testing, they haven't started testing, they've done, well, Ferrari does, like, they have a track of their own in Maranello, so they just do, like, small test runs, and they build the car and all of that jazz. So they did that, and then they're gonna go to Barcelona and do, like, the actual testing that happens prior to the season. It's like their training camp, I guess you can say, just to make sure everything is spick and span, and just test out what needs to be changed and what works, what doesn't work in the new car. And they do that for a while. So everyone will be at Barcelona doing their tests and getting it approved through FIA standards, and just to make sure, like, if there's something to change, they figure it out before the season starts. Okay, thank you for listening and for partaking in liking F1. I hope you like F1, or you're maybe just trying to appease me, but I hope you like it as well. I don't know if you're going to watch it, but there's the next season of Drive to Survive comes out a couple of days before the season begins, how it always does. I think it comes out the 25th or 26th of February, and then the season begins the 6th, or I guess technically the 8th, if like the actual race is concerned. And so that's will be available if you want to watch that. But that's like a recap of the season in like a different way, and obviously they want to show their side of like the drama or whatever, but like it's like hard knocks of the whole season, Well, that's training camp, but I guess it's more like a recap of the season from their eyes, and Netflix likes to capture things. So I'm curious to see, but I want to rewatch it, especially this season because of Lando's stuff. And I just want to see the win again. So, I hope you are into F1 again. If you're not, you don't have to pretend to. It's fine. But still, thank you for listening to me talk about it, ramble about it, and especially this ramble podcast about it. And watching the races with me if if it's a night race or whatever. And just asking me about it. Because I don't have anyone to talk to about it. If you have any questions, comments, please tell me or text me or just tell me in person about them. And I think that covers most of the stuff, or at least everything I can think of right now. But it's I had rambled a lot and I'm still rambling, but I feel like I covered all, if not majority, if not all of the stuff that I had kind of wanted to tell you, but I tried to condense it, but I still kind of rambled into side things. But yeah, thank you again. Love you. Bye.